website. I'm at dafont.com, and I already wrote down the name of my font from last class. So I wrote down the name Moonflower, so I'm able to search that right here in the box right away, because I've already done this in my planning. So there's my Moonflower font. To install this font, I hit the word download. It then is going to open up a separate file, and you'll see that within it, it's a folder. Within the folder, you have a picture usually of what it looks like, some rules about it, but then you also have a TTF file or an OTF, Open True Face, True Typeface. So now I get to choose on bold or regular. If I don't install both, I won't have the option for both. So just in case, I'm going to install both. To install, you double click and then hit install font. Don't rush to double click the next one. Sometimes you get an error here, and it's really important that you say okay to the error if it appears. So if you get the error, you just say install checked, okay. And here it is. So if I just rushed through this, I wouldn't have seen this menu, and then I would have wondered why it didn't install. If I say, yes, it's okay, it's downloaded from the internet, install checked, then it will be installed into my font gallery. So double click, install font, install checked, and go. So now I have my fonts. Clearly I have a lot of fonts, but they're adding to that folder. I also just wanted to show, some of you were looking at holiday cards, so I'm just going to write Christmas for a second. And some of these icons came up that weren't good fonts, but great graphics. You can use these graphics. So if you see a font you really like because it has a graphic you really like, so maybe I know that I want to include Frosty or I wanted to include Santa, and that's the Santa I want to include, I could actually use that font to install it. So snowflakes, that's awesome. I'm going to do snowflakes. So Christmas mouse. I'm going to install that just so I can show you how you could use that as well. So Christmas mouse works as a font. Clearly there's my A, B, C, D, E, but it's not font. So E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. So somewhere where the O is, I'm going to have my snowflakes. Install font. So in Illustrator, I have Christmas mouse and Moonflower. So I'm going to go back to my greeting card. Amazing. I have my layer. I'm going to call this one my text layer. And I'm going to make all my text on that layer. So I just double clicked and I called it text layer. Grab my T tool. And I'm going to click and drag my text box. And so I'm going to locate my font, Moonflower. There it is. And I'm going to change the size to something a little bit more substantial, even more substantial. And I'm going to change the color. Alright, so I've set up my font. And here I'm going to write Seasons, Greetings to All. Great. Now, you can easily center it. I recommend, if you're centering it, make sure your text box goes from the edge of the card to the edge of the card, and then you know it's 100% center. So it's very easy to install your font and make it centered if you follow your grid lines. So there's my Seasons Greetings font. Very simple to install, very simple to change your colors. If I want to go back and change anything now, I just have to make sure I highlight it for it to process the new changes. But then it will process new changes if it's highlighted. But I can't just change it without it being highlighted. Okay? So, Seasons Greetings to All. The next thing I had was the Christmas mouse font. I'm actually going to call this layer Snowflakes, because I know it's a font, but it's not actually a font. So, I'm going to make my text box like I'm starting a font. I'm going to locate my Christmas mouse font. And then my snowflakes are going to be bluish. Perfect. So somewhere around the ends, right? That's what I said. So we have to find, there's one. Sometimes which ones are what by going through our keyboard and typing. So if it's not the one you want, you can just delete it until you find the ones you want. So I found that this first snowflake was Q. This snowflake is G. But it just takes a second to figure out what's what. L is that one. But then once you have these awesome snowflakes, oh, there we go. See, okay, so I have some snowflakes. what I can do now is they're all stuck together in a text box. If I actually right click or control click with the black cursor, control click, I can create outlines. I'm going to control click one more time and I'm going to ungroup. What that's allowed me to do is select just the snowflake and I can resize it. I'm going to put it behind my text. I'm going to change the opacity to low. And it starts creating more dynamic stuff, and I didn't have to make that graphic. So if you find that you have an image you've seen in a font, use it. It's there for you. It's free graphics to use, but make sure you know how to edit them. So if I just left them in a text line, it would have looked very, very unprofessional, right? So it's important that once you have that text, you grab your black cursor, you control click, create outlines, control click, ungroup. And then you individually take each one and move them around the page to create that dynamic graphic you were hoping for, okay? So don't just use it as a static design. So there's my season's greetings to all, and I'm only 2 steps in.